Man, I just remember that day staring out the window thinking, what am I gonna do here? Like, I'm done. Something has to change.
Our marriage had hit rock bottom. There was no other way to describe it. For us, it was a matter of survival at that point, and we didn't know what that looked like. We just knew that where we were was unbearable. Every single thing that you can think about that the world will tell you, here are the things that you need to do to heal your marriage. And we were trying all of them, but it was really just putting a Band-Aid on a wound that required a lot more than just a Band-Aid.
The point of no return for us, or that breaking moment, I did the unthinkable. I had an affair with my wife. Man, I just remember that day staring out the window thinking, what am I gonna do here? Like, I'm done. Something has to change. I didn't think I wanted to live anymore. The only thing I could keep thinking was, I need to call Todd. His immediate response was, well, I'll meet you right now. It was funny, he said, do you think April will come along? Like, will she meet with me too? Matt
was so ready in meeting with Todd, and I was a little harder to convince, but he gave me peace in the time of I would say is probably the hardest time in our marriage ever. Really, at the end of the day, he gave me hope that it could be different, we could survive. And not survive, but we could thrive, and that we could have a marriage that is something that I could have never imagined.
Really, I think what God was calling me to do is do the thing that really what I should have been doing all along. One, lay down myself, give it all up, let all the pride, the ego, all those things go, and follow him. And I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know what that meant. And we still have questions, right, as husbands and fathers, what does that look like? But I know the foundation. Everything builds from that. We didn't have that before.
There is no logic that can explain it. There's no, you can't apply science to it. It was just, he got into my heart and healed things that I didn't know needed healing. Yeah. And the darkest time of our lives has turned into just the lightest. Going all in for us is about trusting God with everything. And so there's been so many aspects of it, starting with the financial. We've never been part of a church, so we've never tithed before. And so that was a terrifying moment for us to think about. But not once, even though it was a stretch, has there ever not been enough? It was very clear to us when we were sitting at the advanced commitment night. And I remember sitting there looking around and just being so grateful for just the experience of itself, but just everything that God had done for us. And it was just so clear to me that whatever Love Church needed us to do, if they needed us to do production or greeting or ushering or security or snuggle babies or mop the floors, whatever it was, that I would be willing to do it because God is so good. And if even one person is impacted through what he's doing through Love Church, then I'm all in.
It really wasn't an option. That's what it was. And it wasn't a decision we really made actively. There was no decision to be made. Boom, this is it.
The cost of not going all in meant that our children wouldn't know Jesus. Like, they wouldn't know his power, his glory, everything about him, how wonderful he is and how much he loves them. Now, my Morgan at 7 years old is gonna know Jesus for the rest of her life. And my Mallory, who's at Elkhorn South, she knows who she is to God. Her identity no longer lies in how many Snapchat friends she had and how if this person's mad at her today or this, but she knows who she is because of who God says she is.
And for me, what would have been the cost of not going all in is the legacy I can leave. It's not of a will of money. It's nothing like that. It's not stuff. I feel like the legacy I can leave with my kids is the fact that I taught them about salvation, what Jesus did for us, and then they go out and spread themselves. There is nothing else. Everything fades. Everything else goes away. And the fact that I can smile again and talk openly and candidly about some of the worst times in our lives, that in itself is a miracle. And it's just a huge hole that was filled that wouldn't have been filled by anything else.